As I was already introduced, I'll probably not spend more time introducing myself, but let me just give you a few words about what I do at the World Bank and what our team does. I work with the World Bank Finance and Private Sector Department for the Africa region. We cover the 48, 49 countries in Africa, extending support for creating the enabling environment that the private sector needs to mushroom and grow. In that context, it's important to make sure that finance flows from financial institutions to serve the needs of businesses. I'm here today with two distinguished panelists, which are representing very well-established development finance institutions, and we will be tapping into their brain and knowledge about what are the experiences in improving access to finance to private sector in Africa and elsewhere. Particularly, I would like to focus on small and medium enterprises on one side, and on the other side, you have access to finance for infrastructure development, which is critical. You will be hearing from Maktar Diop later today on what the World Bank does in this area. So I'm not going to preempt him. I will let him tell you exactly what we're doing. And I would like here to give the opportunity to our panelists to tell us a little bit more about what has been their respective experiences in promoting access to finance. So let me introduce them. I have on my right, Diana Noble, I got it right? Chief Executive of CDC, and she will explain to you what CDC means. It's a well-established institution which has gone over years through several transformations and has been very active in different overseas markets, including in Africa. On my left is Chel Roland. Is it right?
That's okay.
Yeah, good. He's Managing Director for Nordfund. And Nordfund is also very active in Africa, particularly Southern and Eastern Africa. And both do cover SMEs as well as infrastructure finance and do extend equity. It doesn't work? Is it okay? Both extend equity support, debt support, and many other financial products to private sectors initiatives. So we have more or less 4 to 5 minutes for us to entertain around this topic. And I would like them to give you a sense of what they do in this area and also to share with you the lessons they have learned over years of practice on the ground, and more importantly, how the development finance institution can get together and eventually work a little bit together in addressing the problem that we face in our countries. I will just give you one example and I will stop there. We just got a request from the finance minister for Nigeria. And Nigeria is one of the largest countries in Africa and largest market in Africa. And what we know in Nigeria as elsewhere is that finance doesn't necessarily reach the private sector and the small and medium enterprises in the private sector, which are really critical for government to respond to the job challenge that they do face. Question that she's raising is how we can catalyze that process, because we have seen that commercial banks are not responding to it, and that this is not necessarily a bad thing because banks are risk adverse and this is normal. And she's clearly looking into solution, how to put in place a new development finance institution that can be commercially and financially sustainable over years and help bridge the market gaps in terms of extending long-term finance to SMEs, for example. The same reasoning can apply to infrastructure finance. We know the infrastructure backlog that is holding Africa development back and its competitiveness. If this infrastructure was to be put in place, it's pretty sure that many companies, including yours represented in this room, will be rushing to Africa to invest more. So we're facing a broad agenda, but I would like them to tell you their experiences along these two lines. What are they doing respectively? What are the lessons they have learned in what we're doing? And how can that community of professionals can work much better and more effectively together?
Doing business in Africa, you can't afford to be without Africa Investor.